some bad news. I knew it. I love when he does that.
Well, once you hit rock bottom, the only way to go is up. So good luck, okay? Good luck.
You say rock bottom, but, like, it just seems like things keep getting worse. What is rock bottom? Who decides what's the bottom of all this? I mean, seriously, you go, okay, today is Friday, and I woke up in Cleveland, and I'm going, how much worse can it get?
Ooh, we down. I'ma hold you, hold me down. Overuse somebody, get your beat down. We 10 toes, 2 feet down. We down, yeah, we down, yeah, yeah, down, yeah. Maybe we down, yeah, yeah, down, yeah. Ooh, my last I split it. Bottom and crown, my with it. I'll tell the judge I did it. Just put something on my books, come visit. I know you would do the same for me. I know that if anybody came for me, I know it ain't a thing to bang for me. Need you to know that it's the same for me. More than a homie, don't nobody know me better than you. How to get me back together like you. When I fall apart like I always do, I ain't never not knew who to run to. Baby, that's you. Ooh, riding with me since they were go. Always there when I need you so. Run this song back and over, show that we down. Shotgun in the whip, sit down. See you whenever they see me round. We 10 toes, 2 feet down. We down, we down, yeah, yeah, down, yeah. Maybe we down, yeah, yeah, down, yeah. Ooh, we down. I'ma hold you, hold me down. Over you, somebody get your beat down. We 10 toes, 2 feet down. We down, yeah, we down, yeah, yeah, down, yeah. Maybe we down, yeah, yeah, down, yeah.
I got you. I said I got you.
Stay down 10 toes. Say the word, let me know. Call me and it's a go. Call me and it's a go. Stay down 10 toes. Say the word, let me know. Call me and it's a go. Call me and it's a go.
10 toes, stand on all 10. From the back, make her do a back end. I know she love me cause I got the racks in. Come give me head till I'm crashing. You know you look good to me. Come pull up in the hood with me. It ain't no limit, get to swiping. I'ma ice you out and have you ice it. Please suck the digit like you trifling. I told her be nasty with me, P don't be classy with me. Know you got class in the week, but you gon' stay. You stay down and I might give you a mango.
Stay down 10 toes. Say the word, let me know. Call me and it's a go. Call me and it's a go. Ooh, say something like we dirty and the Jake's coming. If you're loyal, hit the jewel and have him make some. Let you whip the G-Wagon or the rape song. Take one fake, nah, something they can say about you. Even if the breast ain't real, I know the heart's so true. And you a thug all day and I got love all day. Legal and crime hit my line and I'm on my way. When I jump first, if you ever say jump, but I got your back so much I'm in the front. Long as you shotgun, pistol grip pump. Let me tell you, I'ma stay down 10 toes. Say the word, let me know. Call me and it's a go. Call me and it's a go. Baby, I'ma stay down 10 toes. Say the word, let me know. Call me and it's a go. Call me and it's a go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 290 of the Hoots podcast. That's right. We're 10 episodes away from eclipsing the 300 mark here on this podcast of Hoots. It is just truly the nefarious Mark Adam talking to you live from the Good Brothers studio in Chicago, Illinois for the last time in 2021. Recording this on New Year's Eve. It's 11:35 here in Chicago as I'm recording this, and I hope you guys are enjoying your holiday season with your family. And just want to say a big shout out to each and every single one of you who's taken time to support this podcast this year. I really believe that 2021 has been a really good year for us as a podcast as a whole, I really would say that this year has probably been the best year of our show from a quality standpoint, and numbers and all that extra stuff has been really good to us too. But I would say this past year was really really successful year for us as far as content is concerned. And I just want to say thank you for checking it out and listening to the show every single week or watching the videos when we do have like a live full edition of the podcast with video. I do appreciate those as well. But where you enjoy the What the Hell is Wrong with AEW segment or DSU or any aspect of the Hoots podcast, we do appreciate the support. And as we get closer to 300, I'm going to let everybody know like where my head's at as far as like the future of the podcast. And I wanted to continue to be a part of your fixture and your wrestling experience. We're going to keep pushing this show through WrestleMania season and see where it goes from there. But it is very important that we do reach the 300 mark of the podcast, and I want to at least get to that point, and we'll see where the future lies there. The show is heading into its 6th year of existence, and I always say I didn't think this show would last more than 2 months. So the fact that we're 10 episodes away from reaching 300 is really really gratifying and really humbling. And it's thanks to all of you who take the time to send questions or just listen to the podcast, even if it's for 5 minutes or you don't even listen to the full show. I appreciate anybody that's taken the time to watch or listen to this podcast over the years. And it really means a lot to myself and Brother Carter and everybody who's been a part of this podcast. Speaking of podcasts, I want to give a big shout out to referee Tony S., the good brother, for having me on as a guest on his podcast, The Heat Podcast. We recorded this on last Sunday during football, day after Christmas Day. And it was actually the last day I felt a little bit normal. Like I said, I've been feeling off this week and just trying to push through with the transcripts. I wanted to do some little extra content and preview more in-depth with Wrestle Kingdom, but this is what happens when you get sick. But anyways, I just wanted to say big shout out to Tony for having me on as a guest on his podcast, and got to share a little bit of my life story and my background to where I am right now. And it's a really revealing interview, and opened up about a lot of things that I don't really mention about on this podcast. And it was a pleasure being on his show. Check it out. It's the Heat Podcast. It's really good. You should subscribe to it. And I want to thank Tony for giving me the platform to be myself and just speak from the heart. And I appreciate him having me on as a guest on this show. So, as I think about it going into 2022, I would love to appear on some more podcasts. If there's some podcasts you think I'd be a good guest on, let me know. But I would love to do some more guest appearances or maybe be interviewed more in 2022. I think that'd be pretty cool. To be interviewed and talk about the transcripts and the process behind it and the purpose behind the site. That'd be pretty cool. By the way, make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. That's my baby. That's my website where I do all the transcripts for your favorite wrestling shows. So check out that. And if you're listening to the podcast right now, depending it's an Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts from, please follow the show, subscribe, leave us a 4 or 5 star review and rating on Apple Podcasts. It not only helps expand the reach of the show, but myself and Brother Carter want to gauge on what you guys like or dislike about the podcast. And I just want to say thank all of you for, again, just listening to the show each and every single week. So let the people know what you like about the Hoots podcast and where you want to see it grow in 2022. And as we get closer to episode 300, I'm going to be bringing back some good brothers that you've heard before on the show. And I'm just really excited to reach episode 300, which should be coming up in a couple of months or so. I think the beginning of March will be our 300th episode. So again, just thank you everybody for support. It really means a lot. With all that being said, I guess it's time to get to the Good Brothers Q&A session, as we always do here on the podcast. If you want to participate in the Good Brothers Q&A session, all you have to do is send me a question at Josh Lopez Media or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. It's a pretty simple process to check out the podcast each week. And I do appreciate those who send questions. And we don't only just talk about wrestling, we talk about life, sports, a bunch of shit. So I do appreciate those who take the time to send out questions. So we're going to start out per ritual, as we always do, with Chris Zaletta at XTZaletta24X on Twitter. Shout out to you, Oos. Hope you have a wonderful, happy new year. He says, what up, Oos? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week. Next Sunday and Monday, who will be the first head coach fired in the NFL? Matt Nagy, Mike Zimmer. Those are the two off the top of my head. I can't really list out everybody, but those are the ones that like ring off the top of my head. Happy New Year, Mr. Rivera. I hope you're doing well, my man. I miss you. God bless you, sir. I miss you. Yeah, I think it probably Matt Nagy and Mike Zimmer, which kind of ironic that they're NFC North coaches. So, yeah, those would be my picks as far as who would probably get fired. We'll have to see how that plays out. Anyways, next question. What match are you looking forward to the most for Wrestle Kingdom? I got a couple. I got to say, the lineup for Wrestle Kingdom, and we'll make predictions for it later on. I got to say, the lineups for both night 1 and 2 are very, very good. I think for me, of course, it's got to be Okada and Shingo for night 1. And then I'm really excited to see Naito and Jeff Cobb for night 2. I think that's going to be a great match. Ishii and Evil never disappoint. That should be a good match as well. I'm also excited for Kenta and Tanahashi, their no DQ match for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship. So there's a lot to pick up out of the litter. I can't really just pick one particular match, but this really good cards for both events coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So I'm just really excited. This is like the Super Bowl of Japan wrestling, and I'm just really excited to check it out, and it should be a really, really good time. It should be a good time covering Wrestle Kingdom. By the way, this year will be my 7th Wrestle Kingdom that I transcribed, which is pretty cool, right? So just really excited. It should be a blast. I'm really looking forward to Tuesday and Wednesday. I probably won't get any sleep, but it's going to be worth it, and it's going to be a good time. So check it out, ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. All right, next question for Chris. He says here, any personal New Year's resolutions? I personally don't believe in resolutions because I'm a person that doesn't need to have like a list of things I need to do. I just go about what I want to do and what I need to do. What I'm looking into 2022 is just to really start getting into the process of actually working in the wrestling business. And I think that's probably where my head's at right now as far as things I want to do. Personally, if there's stuff that I feel like I need to improve on or anything like that, I like to say just, spend less time on Twitter. Probably be one thing. If I had like a resolution, it's probably just be like spend less time on Twitter and just post your articles and then let people argue and do their thing on Twitter and just mind your own business. So, and I really been working on that over the last couple of weeks. Like you see me, I rarely tweet anymore during like live shows or like Dynamite per se, because Wednesday night's like a 2-hour I know how to say it here. You get the drift. It's like a hand gliding gig on your knees session for AEW. I don't enjoy those nights, or any night there's like a WWE hearing that's like a cesspool. So anytime I can stay away from Twitter, it's a good thing for my mental health and energy. So that's probably, if I had to pick out one thing to do for 2022 is to stay off of Twitter more and just share your articles there and then get out. Get out! Next question for Chris. He says, whose side do you think Paul Heyman is on? I think he'll be on the side of the Tribal Chief. Will you be watching any of the bowl games this weekend? That'll be a hashtag no shot. I'm not really a big fan of college football. I've never been a fan of college football, so that'll be a hashtag no shot. Next question. Who will be the final 3 playoff teams in each conference in the NFL? That's a great question. Okay, let me pull up the standings here for the NFL. I wish I could do this off the top of my head. I probably could if I wasn't feeling ill this week, but let's see. We got to do the standings first. How about Burning Love? Burning Love. Okay. Conference. Okay, here you go. Here's the current standings. I think for me, we'll go down to the Colts, Patriots. I think will get in, and then I think I'm gonna say the Chargers are the ones that get the final spot. So if it was me, I'll go with the Colts, Patriots, and Chargers for the AFC wild card spots, and then for the NFC, Cardinals. I think the Rats are going to win the division, so it'll be the Cardinals, Eagles, and I don't know. NFC wildcard spots all over the place. Why not just give it to the 49ers? Why not? So 49ers, Eagles, and Cardinals will be my wildcard spots for those teams as well. So, yeah, those are my picks there. Let's see. Next question for Chris. He says, one thing you would like to see from MLW, New Japan, Impact, AEW, and WWE in 2022? One thing for MLW, I'd like to see more of Alicia Toot. More Alicia Toot, the better. So that's my obvious pick there. Let's see, who else? For New Japan, I like to see more emphasis on triple threat matches and, elevating the way that these Cork and host shows are not booked, but the match cards for some of these events. Like, I get you want to have preview tab matches of big singles matches, but I don't feel like every New Japan show that's not a pay-per-view needs to have six-man tag team matches. You know what I mean? I just like to see a little change up in the match order and the match decisions for New Japan in 2022. Impact, I just like to see them actually focus on what they're doing and stop trying to fit in with everybody else. Like they wear as a badge of honor this whole forbidden door concept, but honestly, it hasn't done them any favors in 2021. So I just feel like for them, just focus on what you need to do and find a way to get yourself in a better visual aspect to your audience than going to a fucking casino hall in Vegas or the studio in Nashville. I just feel like from a visual standpoint, it looks like Impact comes off like low rent at times, and I like to see that change. AEW, I like to see some more competency in the officiating crew. I like to see a little less emphasis on Orange Cassidy and those of the Orange Cassidy realm. So maybe I'll add more on today and what the hell's around AEW. But WWE, kind of similar to New Japan. It's cool to have like tag matches and rematches and stuff where you want to build up for a big pay-per-view match. But I feel like, deciding TV matches, I think is kind of a lost art. And there's a lot of talented wrestlers out there, and you can have a lot of good matches on a lot of television shows, but having the match just for having the match really doesn't mean anything. So I like to see some more variety in the matches that are selected on weekly television. Just that process of it, I would like to see change in 2021. So that would be my answer to that question. Then the last one here for Chris, he says, thoughts on Toni Storm and WWE's mutual split. Do you think she ever was going to be one of the top women in the division? Where would you like to see her go? I really have no comment on this because I'm not emotionally affected by this. I'm always going to be on the side of performers. If you don't want to be somewhere, don't be there. So I'm not going to come in here and blame the company and do all this spiel and do the whole IWC routine. I'm just going to say that I wish her nothing for the best. I think she had all the potential in the world in front of her to seize the opportunity to be a top performer on the SmackDown brand. And I don't know what her situation is. I don't know why she decided to left. But at the same time, I don't think I need to know why she left, nor do I think anybody else needs to understand why she left. She made her decision for herself. And, I would like to see her pop up on Impact. I think that'd be pretty cool. Or maybe NWA. I think that'd be a good fit for her. So we'll have to see how that goes. But I wish Toni nothing for the best. But I don't want to get into this position like, oh, here goes WWE letting go of their good talent. It doesn't matter what your promotion is. If you have people who don't want to be there, they shouldn't be there. It's really that simple. You can blame creative to the cows come home, but at a certain point, when you're only the only thing you use to blame things that happen are creative, that well starts to dry up a little bit. You have to come up with different reasons. So, anyways, my thoughts go out to Toni. And hope she's in good spirits, and I wish her nothing well. I wish her nothing but the best in whatever she decides to do next. So, thanks for the questions this week, Chris. I really do appreciate it, brother. Next question will go to Psycho Nagiri. Nate the Great. Make sure to follow on Twitter at Psycho Nagiri. He says, do you think Wrestle Kingdom should be 3 nights, or was 2 enough? For me, preferably, I would like to have 2. I don't have an issue with them going 3 nights due to the fact that it is New Japan versus Noah. I'm not happy with the fact that the New Japan Noah show is just tag team matches. I'm not happy about that. But, having conceptually being New Japan and Noah, I'm fine with it being a 3rd night of Wrestle Kingdom. But if it was me, preferably, I'd probably say, 2 nights is good enough for me as far as what a Wrestle Kingdom event should be. Same thing applies to WrestleMania. Who's one person you hope wins more than anyone else at Wrestle Kingdom? Oh, that's easy. Tomohiro Ishii. That's it. My guy Ishii. I hope he wins at Wrestle Kingdom. Would you like to see more main roster folks pop up in NXT from time to time? I mean, sure, this is a situation where you have guys on Raw or SmackDown who kind of lost the shuffle and not doing anything important. I would like to see them pop up on NXT. I'd like to see them show up on NXT UK. Obviously, a lot of things get away, especially COVID, of course. But I just want to see these performers go out and do their own thing. And I wouldn't mind seeing other guys or girls throughout the calendar year, make visits to NXT. I think it'd be good for them. A little change of scenery doesn't hurt anybody. I don't think it's a demotion. It would be the way I look at it. But I'll just say that for me, I think that'd be kind of cool to have some people from the main roster show up to NXT and do some stuff there. I think that'd be pretty cool. Last question for the podcast this week. When you consider writing transcripts therapeutic, is it fun or just work? That's a great question. I never felt like it's work, at least for what I'm doing right now. I felt it was kind of like work at times when I was at WrestleZone because I was dealing with their politics and it wasn't a good experience for me. I know it's like a popular dirt sheet website, but it wasn't a good experience. There was a couple people I enjoyed working with, but the environment and just behind the scenes of that website was not fun to deal with. And that was during the time where I was first starting to make money and stuff like that. And I just didn't feel like I was treated properly for the amount of time and effort I was putting into that website. And, you know, you think you'd be rewarded for the amount of attention that your transfers were doing. And we had this thing at Wrestle where they have like the trending topics and like what's the most like viewed articles. And during that time period, my articles were outranking like the big rumor copy and paste stuff from Meltzer and Alvarez. You know what I mean? And every time you look at that one hot section, it's always dominated with the transcripts. And I take a lot of pride in that, and I stand by the work I did at WrestleZone. But that was probably the only time during my career of making transcripts that I felt like, hey, this is like work. This is not fun. But ever since then, and what I'm doing right now, it's therapeutic in a good way. Like, it's a good release for me. It's a distraction in a good way where I could block out everything else that's in my head that I deal with throughout the week. You know what I mean? And I can just focus on what I need to cover for that day, type out the article to the best of my ability, and give it out to the people. And I'm very humble in the feedback that I do get for the transcripts and stuff like that. It's therapeutic in a good way, Nate. I'm having the most fun I have in my career so far. I feel like I'm at the top of my game as far as the quality of the transcripts that I'm giving out to everybody. And I just hope people enjoy it. I hope they enjoy the transcripts for what they are. And I hope it's insightful. And I hope it's a tool that people use for their podcasts and stuff, because I had the website there as a point of reference for people. I have the website as a tool to be a point of reference for everybody. That's why I do it. I don't share my booking takes. I don't have star ratings. I don't have match ratings. I don't have any agendas to any of the transcripts I do. It's 100% effort into every show that I cover, and I hope people enjoy it. So I would say it's not fun, but it's definitely therapeutic for me because it's a release and an escape for me from real life stuff that I deal with throughout the day. So amazing question to wrap up the last Good Brothers Q&A session of 2021. As always, if you want to participate in the Good Brothers Q&A session, all you have to do is hit me up at Twitter at JoshLopezMedia, or send us questions the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. Really quick, before we get to our next segment, I like to say that this week's podcast is in dedication to the late, great Jeff Dickerson, who unfortunately passed away earlier this week at the age of 44, battling a brutal case of colon cancer, and gone way too soon. I've had a chance to interact with Jeff Dickerson over the years, and glad to say that I admired his work, and we talked about wrestling here and there and stuff like that. He was a wrestling fan, and he was a really close friend and brother to my mentor, Jonathan Hood. Dickerson and Hood was a popular national radio show on the weekends on ESPN Radio nationally, and Jeff was the lead Bears reporter for ESPN 1000, and he did a phenomenal job. He was one of the best reporters, one of the best on-air guys in the city for the last 10, 15-plus years, and the guy had an amazing heart and how he carried himself as a human being. You heard it from anybody this week on radio or on TV talking about how gracious he was and how strong of a person he was, and how positive and how optimistic he was, even during the darkest times of his life. And, he lost his wife a couple years ago to cancer as well. And my thoughts go out to Parker, his son, his entire family. My thoughts go out to Hoodie and everybody at ESPN 1000. even though I haven't worked for ESPN 1000, I feel like I'm close to this station for the number of times I've interviewed there and get to know some of the people there like Cap and Randy Merkin and those people. And no matter what tier of the media business you're in, especially in Chicago, you kind of know a little bit of everybody in some way. And I've always admired Jeff Dickerson. Has there been times that I've agreed to disagree with some of the stuff he said on radio, of course, but that's just the charm of the game. But I've always admired the person that he was and how he was as a human being. And I'm going to miss JD and his humor and stuff like that. And he was an amazing human being and just really brought me down this week seeing that news. I hate seeing that, especially a guy, just trying to do his best to raise his son on his own, have to go through that. It's just a terrible tragedy. I feel really bad for Parker and his parents that are still alive. It's a terrible loss for their family. And it's been really cool to see the outreach for Parker's GoFundMe account. It's been plastered all over social media this week, which has been really cool to see that from Adam Schefter and everybody donating and doing what they can to support Parker and the Dickerson family as a whole during this rough time. So I just want to send my condolences to the Dickerson family and, of course, my guy, Jay Hood. Thinking of all of you guys, and it's a terrible loss. And there will never be another person like Jeff Dickerson. So I just want to say rest in peace, Jeff Dickerson. We'll see you down the road. All right, folks, when we come back, I'll talk about what happened this week in WWE right here on Hoots Podcast. Yes, sir.
Paul, it's been 1 week since you were fired by Roman Reigns publicly.
Publicly. You had to get that little dig in there, publicly.
Paul, I can assure you I'm not trying to get anything in. I'm trying to give you the opportunity to tell your side, talk about what happened.
What happened? What happened is I told the truth to Roman Reigns. And it was a truth he didn't want to hear publicly. What happened was because I told the truth, I got fired publicly. Smashed in the face. Publicly. Embarrassed. Humiliated in front of my peers in the entire world. Publicly. What happened was I told Roman Reigns the truth, and I paid a price for it. Publicly.
Well, do you now regret telling the truth?
No. Because my role as special counsel was to tell Roman Reigns these uncomfortable truths. My role as special counsel was not just to protect Roman Reigns as a personality, as an intellectual property, but as champion. And make no mistake about it, Roman Reigns is the greatest universal champion of all time. But he needs to be protected from Brock Lesnar.
Paul, now what? What's next for you?
I don't know. What do I do now? I go to NXT, I cherry pick a top talent, I start all over again? Not at this stage. I put every bit of my heart and my soul and my spirit into serving as the special counsel to the tribal chief Roman Reigns because I believe in Roman Reigns. Without that, maybe it's time for me to acknowledge that my career is most likely over.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Hoots Podcast. Interesting piece of audio there from Paul Heyman and Caleb Braxton for the Christmas Eve edition of SmackDown. SmackDown was in, of course, in Chicago for the 2-week taping there at the Rosemont Horizon. Very interesting piece of audio as we head closer towards day one. And like I said, the title of this week's episode is called The Countdown to Day One. And record this on a Friday before SmackDown. Tonight's SmackDown is going to be a top 10 moment of 2021 episode. So basically all the build through day one is over. And we'll be covering that pay-per-view tomorrow night on ProWrestlingTrashTreats.com. And what I wanted to do for this segment this week was to give you the predictions for day one and how I see things going. And then talk a little bit about NXT UK as we wrap up this week in WWE segment in 2021. So let's get into it. Really quick, a couple of things I wanted to mention from some stuff I liked over the week of television. I want to say that the the Miracle on 34th Street street fight with the Usos and Madcap Moss and Drew McIntyre and the New Day, I thought that was a lot of fun, very entertaining. Also, I enjoyed parts of the gauntlet match for the IC title opportunity, especially the portion with Sami Zayn and Ricochet. I thought Ricochet had a fantastic performance. And, Sami Zayn's going to be fighting Nakamura at day one, so that should be pretty cool. And then real quick from Raw this past week, because Raw was actually one of the few wrestling shows besides Dynamite that was actually live this week and had actual content where it wasn't a recap show. So another solid night of wrestling from Detroit, Michigan this week. I thought this week's Raw was really, really good. Continuing the kind of mini feud that RK Bro has with the Alpha Academy, for it being a short match, having a match like Randy Orton and Otis was kind of like the template you want to use for a good, solid TV match where both guys are beneficial towards the end of the match, and I just love the match layout for Orton and Otis. I thought that was really good. Wish it got a little bit more time into the Matt Riddle and Chad Gable's match, but that was what it was. The Street Profits match with the Mysterio family for the finals of the Arcade Bro event was really, really good. Street Profits won that match. Let's see what else we had here. We had Grayson Waller. Grayson's with his presence, unfortunately, on Raw. Good to see Carmella on my TV screen as always. Enjoyed the match with AJ Styles and Apollo Crews. Again, I just thought it was a really solid show from top to bottom. Hell, even the match with Damian Priest and Dolph Ziggler was pretty good despite the whole DQ ending. But the main takeaway from Raw this week was definitely the wedding renewal of Miz and Maurice. I gotta tell you, man, I really enjoyed this segment. It was a lot of fun. It was great to see Eric Bischoff on my TV screen. I got a big pop out of that. But also, just the whole dynamic towards the end of that segment was great. And then to have the whole brood bath to close out the show, I thought it was a nice touch as well. So, Raw this past Monday from Detroit, Michigan. If that was the last live show for WWE in 2021, I thought they went off on a bang. So that was a lot of fun. All right, let's get to some predictions for the pay-per-view that takes place on New Year's Day. No. We're going to start off here. We have a pre-show match with Cesaro and Ricochet taking on Rich Holland and Sheamus. I think Rich Holland and Sheamus will find a way to win that match towards the end. Let's go backwards towards the main event. Let's start off here. RK Bro against Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team titles. I actually have the Street Profits beating RK Bro for the tag titles here. Yeah, that's my pick. I think that's what's going to go down. So I think the Street Profits will upset RK Bro to start out 2022. How about that for a take? I got Drew McIntyre going through Madcap Moss. As far as Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan is concerned, I think this is going to be a very good match. I'm very happy for Liv that she's getting her spotlight right now. But again, I just don't think it's time for her to have the championship, and I don't think she's going to be in the title picture going into WrestleMania. So, even though this is going to be a little brief mini program, it's good to have Liv in that realm of possibly being in contention. But there's levels to this, and Becky Lynch is the best female performer in the world right now. So I gotta say Becky Lynch retains the Raw Women's Championship. Edge versus The Miz. I think this is a toss-up for me. Like I would be fine if The Miz won, and there's something where they set up a potential mixed tag match at the Royal Rumble with Beth Phoenix and Edge and Miz and Maurice. I think that'd be cool, not only for the fact it's a mixed tag match, but also if you look at the Royal Rumble over the last couple years, just the tie-in with Edge and Beth Phoenix making their returns in the Rumble matches in 2020. Edge winning the Royal Rumble last year, and then this year to have Edge have his first match with his wife. I just think it'd be kind of a cool, ironic 3-year story to play out this. So I fight regardless. I think there will be shenanigans in this match, but I fight with either guy winning this match if you want my honest opinion. I have the Usos I have the Usos retaining over the New Day. New Day's been having the Usos numbers over the last couple weeks, so I think the Usos will retain here. Let's go with the Fatal 4-Way match here. Big E, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. I think Big E will retain some way, somehow. I think Big E will retain. But I will say this. I think Big E and Bobby Lashley will fight each other at the Royal Rumble for the WWE titles. So that'll be my pick there. And then Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Some way, somehow, the Tribal Chief will walk out of Atlanta with the WWE Universal Championship. Just acknowledge him. That's all you have to do. You got to acknowledge the Tribal Chief. So that'll be my prediction for that. So that's all my predictions. No, for day one. Last thing I want to mention here as we wrap up this week in WWE segment, I just want to say that I want to give a big shout out to NXT UK. I tell you guys each week, it's my favorite brand that the WWE produces each and every single week. It's just a really fun show. If you enjoyed the old school aspects of professional wrestling and storytelling and how to get one feud over to the next and just the overall vibe of the show, NXT UK is definitely my vibe. So I just want to send a big shout out to all the people and the ladies and the gentlemen down there in the NXT UK. And, I hope they have a chance to have actual takeover events in 2022. Knock on wood, hopefully they simmer down with COVID. But I just really hope that the people in XUK get their flowers and spotlight because they truly deserve it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what happened this week in WWE. Don't forget, tomorrow I'll be making the transcript for day one on ProWrestlingTranscripts.com. Coming up next, it's our preview for Wrestle Kingdom 16 right here on the Hoots Podcast.
Did you miss me? I've missed you. Long time no see. I'm back in Japan. Feeling great, actually. Feeling fantastic. Can Shingo and Okada say that? Are they going to be able to say that on January the 5th? Because on the 4th, Shingo and Okada will go to battle for the interim IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Then they have the honor of facing the real world champion. I've been traveling around the world since my injury, facing the world's finest. Still unpinned, still unsubmitted, and still undefeated. And that whole time I've been doing that, I've been staring at this. Because to you guys, to the fans of the world, this is just a logo, a cute little lion mark logo that is synonymous with New Japan Pro Wrestling, where to me, this is a prophecy. For 50 years, New Japan have been looking for that lion. And here I am. I am that lion. I have been waiting my whole career to main event a Wrestle Kingdom, and it is finally going to happen. Whether it's Shingo or whether it's Okada, it doesn't matter, because there is no one stopping me from feeling that destiny. Best of luck to the pair of you guys, because you are going to need it. And the world will find out that there is only one IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. And his name is Will Ospreay.
Alright, folks, back here, ready to rock and roll. You just heard comments from Will Ospreay for the final Road to Tokyo Dome show on December 24th, which was Christmas Eve. Ironic, right? Decided to give out, our predictions. For the Wrestle Kingdom 16 taking place in Tokyo Dome. I'm only making predictions for night 1 and 2 because night 3, which is New Japan versus Noah, will be taking place next Saturday, so we'll have time to talk about it next week and make predictions for that show. So, strictly Wrestle Kingdom nights 1 and 2 predictions right here on the Hoots podcast for this week. All right, here we go. So, start off on Tuesday, it'll be a opening pre-match Rambo, the final 4 participants in the Royal Rumble match in this pre-show that they do annually will be fighting each other in a fatal 4-way match on night 2 for the KOPW Provisional Championship. I think that'll be anywhere with Toriano, Chase Owens, let's see, Yoshinobu Kamaro, and Doki. That'll probably be my 4 picks there. Yo and Show will be accompanied by Dick Togo. I am going to go with Show to beat Yo. This should be an awesome match to kick off the event, but I'm going to go with Show to beat Yo. We have 2 6-man tag matches that we got to talk about quickly here. We got Hiroshi Tanahashi and the Mega Coaches taking on Bullet Club members Kenta, Taiji Ishimori, and El Phantasmo. I'll say that Bullet Club will win that match. Also, we got Naito, Sonata, and Bushi taking on Will Ospreay, Great Khan, and Jeff Cobb. It'll be great to see Ospreay back in the ring. His first New Japan match, so that's going to be pretty cool. So you get 2 nights of Will Ospreay matches. I am going to go... It was interesting, too, because we have a preview of not only Naito and Cobb, but we also have a preview of Sonata and Great Khan. So this match could go either way. I had the United Empire winning this match, but I have Will Ospreay putting away Bushi, so Bushi will take the fall here. I have no idea who Shibata's going to fight, but this match is going to be contested under catch wrestling rules, so there will be no strikes allowed, unfortunately. I'm going to go with Shibata to win. I just don't know who he's fighting yet, so we'll have to see how that plays out. We have Ishii against Evil with Dick Togo. This match for the Never Openweight title. I have Ishii retaining. I have Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi taking on Dangerous Tekkers for the IWGP World Heavyweight Tag Team titles. I have Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto winning. Yes. Let's see who else we got here. El Desperado and Hiromu Takahashi. I think Hiromu Takahashi will defeat El Desperado and become the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. I also have Shingo Takagi retaining over Okada. I know this may shock some people here, but I have Takagi retaining over Okada at Wrestle Kingdom. This was a toss of 2. I would not be surprised if Okada wins, but with this story here, I think Shingo will retain here, and it's kind of foretailing my pick for night 2. So let's get to that. Night 2 here. We have a 3-way tag match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. It's Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask, a.k.a. Flying Tiger, taking on Ishimori and Phantasmo and the Mega Coaches. I have Ishimori and Phantasmo winning the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. We have a Stardom tag team spotlight match here. We have Mayu Itani and Starlight Kid taking out Tam Nakano and Saya Katanani. I got Itani and Starlight Kid winning that match. Yano obviously retained the provisional KLPW 2022 trophy. House of Torture, Evil, Yujiro, and Sho taking on Chaos, Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Yo. It's going to be a rough weekend for the House of Torture, but rightfully so. I have Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi, and Yo winning this never openweight 6-man tag team titles. Have Sonata defeating the Great Okan. Have Naito defeating Jeff Cobb. I have Hiroshi Tanahashi unfortunately beating Kenta for the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship. And then I have Shingo retaining over Will Ospreay. So, really, just going over, looking at both these cards for night 1 and 2, like I said during the Q&A earlier, it's going to be a fantastic event for New Japan. These Wrestle Kingdom events rarely ever disappoint. So, I'd say go on your way to check it out, whether it's on New Japan World or on Fight TV. You can also check it out there. I think I'm probably going to watch it on Fight TV. Only because Fight TV has a better pause option where I could do the transcript. I love the New Japan World service, but when it does the live feeds, it's hard to really transcribe the matches with how their system is and stuff like that. So if you ask me which streaming platform is the best when it comes to transcribed shows, it's either Fight TV or Peacock. It's been very helpful for me with WWE shows as well. So, anyways, those were my predictions for Wrestle Kingdom 16. I'll have the coverage for both events on ProSpeakTranscriptions.com. So, with that said, it's time to give the people what they want. One more restaurant quality edition to wrap up 2021, the most controversial segment in all of professional wrestling podcasting that started right here in 2021. No, actually 2020 during the pandemic, but really came to prominence in 2021. I am speaking of the widely known and widely affectionate segment known as What the Hell is Wrong with AEW? We're going to start this off in a 3, 2, 1.
Beat your meat. 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 Beat your meat.
It's time for What the Hell is Wrong with AEW?
All right. What the hell is wrong with AEW? AKA, what isn't wrong with AEW? And I don't even know where the hell to start this week to wrap up 2021. But we're going to do it. We're going to talk about the thing. Let's get into it. What the hell is wrong with AEW? First and foremost, before we get started here, I'd like to scroll back to our Dynamite transcript. We had the return of JR, which was great news to see. JR has been dealing with some form of skin cancer. So it's cool to see JR was in remission. He's cancer-free. So it's great to see him back on commentary this week. I want to play a piece of audio here before we get into the shenanigans, which is always AEW, but let's play this really quick.
Hey, it's me. One of the biggest ratings draws in all of professional wrestling. Don't believe me? Google it. And today, we're going to talk about unsafe working conditions. You see, last week I was thrown over the top rope with reckless abandonment by that untrained outlaw hack Sting. Seriously, does anybody know who trained that guy? I don't. Yeah, because he wasn't. The man was revered when he should have been released. And I can assure you, if I was working for a much more professional wrestling company, things like this wouldn't happen to me. But I suppose that's a conversation that needs to be had as we get closer to the bidding war of 2024. CM Punk. You claim you wanted a piece of me. You claim you're a man of the people, and yet the people want to see us go at it more than anything, and you refused to give that to them. You stayed away from me the entire match like a gutless coward. Well, guess what, Punky? I'm over it. Your yesterday's news You are merely a distraction for my ultimate goal, and that is for me to hold Pretty Platinum. But why settle there? War Dog, I'm going to need you to stop chasing the hug on that cute little powerbomb symphony you're doing and just start chasing some dubs so you can qualify for the Face of the Revolution ladder match where the winner gets a shot at the TNT title, which I know you'll win, big man. You're great. But when you win it, you're going to need to relinquish it to me.
What's that?
Okay, I had a feeling this would happen. Spearsy, Smart Mark's just right outside. Can you grab him?
This guy, what is this?
It's in the contract.
It's actually right here in the contract. Section 3, Article 13B. I, Wardlow, hereby acknowledge that in exchange for employment with MJF LLC and full Pinnacle membership privileges, all services provided under this contract are considered work for hire, and as such, all merchandise, royalties, intellectual property created or conceived, and championships won or collected as product of my efforts, immediately and forever in perpetuity, the property of Maxwell Jacob Friedman. Yes. Always have a plan, right, Max? Just like I have a plan for Jade to win the TBS championship.
Cool. Spears?
Disappear. No problem.
Now, in the meantime, starting next week, I myself am going to start ranking up and getting some W's so I can become not just the TNT champion, but the AEW world champion. Why? Because my name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and I'm better than you. And you know it.
Hearing the comments right there from MJF. One of the good things here for this week's edition of Dynamite. This week's Dynamite was dubbed New Year's Smash. It was the final show for Dynamite in TNT. And rightfully so, it ended up in Daly's place in Jacksonville, Florida. There's just something in the water in Jacksonville where these Dynamites go to shit, and just the edge of the Jacksonville Jaguars just permeates through AEW Dynamite. It seems to amaze me each time they're down there for these Dynamite episodes. But we started off, as we usually do for these Jacksonville Dynamite editions, with not a 6-man tag, not an 8-man tag, but a 10-man tag. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, a 10-man tag team match. A 10-man tag team Mudshow where it's FTR, the Running Lip Man, and Private Party, taking on the Jungle Express, Christian Cage, and the Lucha Brothers. Move. Running into the ring, doing dumb spots to the outside, running into the ring whenever you want. And by the way, you want to guess who the referee was for this match? Oh yes, Mrs. Personality herself, Aubrey Edwards. Some things never seem to change. Yeah, the show started off with 2 Mudshow tag matches. It wasn't only this one. We had Eddie Kingston and Proud and Powerful taking on Daniel Garcia and 2.0. Hey, Tony Khan, can you stop shoving Daniel Garcia down my throat? And it's like, so 2.0 are happy that they're not in NXT anymore, I guess. I guess that's the whole shtick from them now. So they're out of NXT, so now they can act like the Young Bucks and the Dark Order and all these teams from the Indies where they have no tag psychology. They run into the ring whenever they want. They can barely hold the tag rope, and they can't have a simple tag match with their life dependent on it. So I'm watching the first 40 minutes of this show, and it's going on and on with these malaise, clusterfuck, outlaw Mudshow tag matches. And I'm like, is this shit gonna end anytime soon? And I'm like, I'm also watching this and I'm asking myself, does anybody really care about this? Is anybody really getting Is anybody getting themselves over in this process? The only thing that I took away from it is that we're gonna have a Lucha Brothers match with the Jurassic Express probably at Revolution or some type of forehand, and we'll probably have like a Eddie Kingston, Daniel Garcia no DQ match. Whoopity do. So like the first 40 minutes of the show, just malaise tag matches that have no purpose to it, and you guys know my thoughts on it. It's just outlaw Mudshow bullshit. it's not fun to watch. It's not fun to transcribe. It's not fun to watch and sit there. If you're just a Move fan and you don't care about rules and you can do whatever you want to ring, act like it's the Wild Wild West, more power to you. But for me, who covers the shows each and every week, like these matches are not good. They're not good to watch. I'm sure it's probably fun to watch in person, but for me, watching it at home, it's not fun. It's not entertaining. It's just there. And I'm like, well, okay, here we are. Another multi-person tag match, and well, let's see what happens next. So, you heard a clip from MJF there. I also like to say I enjoyed the Thunder Rosa and Jay Cargill match. I thought that was really good. Let's play a little bit of this CM Punk promo from Dynamite this week.
I've never been to Daly's place. I don't even know what the setup is. Where's Jim Ross? You know, I come out here and I immediately get to thinking how awesome it is to see you back here sitting at that booth. You're the best to ever do it. I'm glad you're back to work, and it's awesome to see you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I'm all about giving people their flowers when they deserve it now, because I give Jim his flowers and then I get to thinking about this place, and I've never been here, but this has been a home for AEW. And it gets me thinking about Brody Lee. There's anybody out there who says anything to try to minimize the impact that that man had, it just makes me feel sorry for them, because it means they never met him. I sat at home and I watched the tribute show to my friend from this place, and it made me want to come here. So then I get to thinking about maybe somebody who's not worth my time, maybe somebody who doesn't want to be here. And speaking of internet trolls, yeah, I'm talking about MJF. MJF is a Twitter troll in the flesh. He is somebody who talks a big game, but when it comes down to it, he don't say that stuff to your face. He hides behind a keyboard or Dax and Cash. I saw it with my own eyes last week. You saw it with your own eyes last week. Somebody who's smart enough to say that the people want to see CM Punk get his hands on MJF. But is also stupid enough to say something that he's as good as Roddy Piper in Portland. When Roddy Piper laced up his wrestling boots, and we all saw last week, MJF laced up his running shoes, didn't he? Yeah. I'm not sure if you guys heard, but MJF says he's done with me. Honestly, I'm fine with that. I got the team with the legend Sting. I got the team with Darby Allin. And we beat FTR and MJF. So hey, I understand if MJF is afraid, if MJF is scared, if he don't want none, he doesn't have to have none. I myself am looking towards bigger and better things. I heard him say it too. He's talking about the gold. He's talking about becoming the AEW champion. Jim Ross will attest to this. You always hear people say, if you don't want to be the champion, you probably shouldn't be here. And that's true. I want to be champion too. There's beginnings and there's endings, and being here, CM Punk, first time in Daly's Place, a place that has been so good to AEW. The last Dynamite on TNT, we're moving to TBS. There's bigger and there's brighter things on the horizon for CM Punk. So MJF, you are a waste of my time, and you are an even bigger waste of con money than Tim Tebow. So I'll leave you all with this. I never wanted to mess with MJF, but he found out the hard way that on this mic, that in this ring, even at commentary, nobody can touch me. And if he wants to climb that ladder and get some W's to get to AEW Gold, well, I imagine sooner or later, I'll see him again in this ring. But it'd be a real shame if somebody interfered with his quest for gold.
I'll say this. You know, when I think about 2021 and, you know, recording this on New Year's Eve, I definitely say, and believe it or not, as I'm recording this segment, I am thankful for AEW for bringing back my favorite wrestler. I will say that I am thankful for AEW for bringing back CM Punk. And you heard it right there. That's the CM Punk I fell in love with as a performer and a mentor and an idol. You know, Punk's the man. And I wanted to play that promo again just to showcase, you know, like he said, nobody can touch him on the microphone, and nobody can touch him in the ring. He is the best in the world, and I'll say one thing that I am thankful for 2021 is the fact that CM Punk came back to wrestling. So, big shout out to you, AEW. Well, I will say, while I do say that, we also have this. So, one thing I've noticed with Dynamite shows or just any general AEW shows that take place in Jacksonville is that you have sloppy tag matches, you have way over long taping sessions of Dark and Elevation, and also you have, believe it or not, a heavy emphasis on the Rhodes family. We're going to wrap it up with this. You want to ask me, hey Josh, what the hell is wrong with AEW? Well, I'm not going to go off on Dan Lambert because I thought Dan Lambert was the saving grace of this segment, but what you want to know what the hell's wrong with AEW? Brandi Rhodes. Enough said. Just watch the segment for yourself and enjoy the misery. On that note, that is what the hell's wrong with AEW this week.
This has been What the Hell is Wrong with AEW.
Alright folks, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me for our final edition of the Hoots podcast in 2021. I hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend. We will be back here next week to recap what happened at Wrestle Kingdom and Day 1, so be on the lookout for that. Just make sure to subscribe to the Hoots Podcast right now. Anywhere you get your podcast from, type in Hoots Podcast, leave us a 4 or 5 star review and rating on Apple Podcasts. That is a 4 or 5 star review and rating on those platforms. Also, make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com. You can follow me on Twitter if you like at Josh Lopez Media, at JoshieLopez94, at Josh Lopez Music on Instagram. Also, if you want to check out my appearance on Referee Tony's podcast, go check it out. It's version 5. It's the Heat podcast. Make sure to type it out and support Tony's podcast as well. And again, like I mentioned earlier, this week's podcast is in dedication to the late, great Jeff Dickerson of ESPN 1000 and ESPN NFL Nation. A wonderful man, and glad it's taken away from us way too soon. So remember, folks, be the authentic product that is yourself, and remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself. I love you guys. Have a happy and wonderful new year. We'll be back here in 2022. 10 episodes to go on the countdown to 300. We'll talk to you guys next week. Enjoy day one. Enjoy Wrestle Kingdom. And we'll talk about it all right here on the Hoots Podcast. Yes, sir.